All right, it's another day. TGIF, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Anambra this beautiful Friday morning. My name is Chidimba Orangwa.
And I'm Ajuluchuku Okabwe.
All right, this morning we are starting the show. You know how we do it every day on our Breakfast TV show. We'll start by bringing your word the stories that are trending on our national dailies. But first, we are going to start with ABS website. And we are glad to let you know we have reviewers in the building this morning. Well, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, you meet our reviewers and we are going straight into discussion. So stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. And we have as guest this morning, Imandi Ezenago. Imandi is a public affairs analyst. Glad to have you on the show, Imandi.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We also have Favor Robinson. Favor Robinson is a public affairs analyst. Favor, good morning.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, the stories we have on our website are Mrs. Soludo condemns abuse of maid at Onitsha, assures justice. Fire disaster, Anambra State government warns against bush burning. Anambra State Assembly passes revenue bill. These are the stories on our website this morning. Let's start with you, Mandy. You heard the story of a child that was abused by, should I call her madam, so to say, a maid in Onitsha that was abused, and now the wife of the governor is actually condemning that act from that woman, what she did, and assuring in the Anambra that justice will prevail. Now, in your own terms, what do you think the woman should have done? Because I heard the story that she said she caught her touching the genital of her son and all that. So, in your own opinion, what should she have done in a situation like that?
You know, we've heard different stories of child abuse
Abuse.
from either the parents or the guardian
Guardian.
of their particular child. Now, coming to that, and from the news, we are told that the little girl was an 11-year-old girl. So, you know, all these things are part of education that you give to the child or your word, as the case may be. In that situation, the brutal abuse on that child is not supposed to go to that extent. Because even the woman, even if she had caught her own child doing such, she won't go that extreme to brutalize that particular teenager. So she went way, way too far. And now, the wife of the governor promising the Anambra that the child will get justice is a very welcome development. Let there be a synergy between her and the Commissioner for Women Affairs to make sure that the woman is brought to book. Yes, the child might have done what is wrong, but as we normally say, two wrongs can never make a right. So she brutalizing that child to that extent is way, way too far. And even when the child was taken by the relatives and taken to the hospital, she was not responding, and she was bragging and making mouth that nothing that she can get away and all that. I believe that this is one of the reasons why the wife of the governor have to like come into the matter and promise justice, so that this woman should be used to set example to other people, taking care of other people's children. Because I believe that if it were to be her own child, she wouldn't have gone to that extreme. Even if you are to punish that child for doing wrong, you don't go through to such extreme. So we will keep our fingers crossed and then keep waiting till, let's say, in less than a month or in few weeks' time, we'll get to know the outcome of the matter.
All right, thank you so much for that. Favor, We also have there, talking about fire disaster, Anambra State government warning against bush burning. You know, we are in the era of bush burning. Everybody wants to clear their farms and, you know, preparing it for cultivating it and all that. But then, you know that this is also a dry season Harmattan because this weather is very confusing sometimes. But then again, what do you think about this particular warning coming from Anambra State government to people, especially farmers that are clearing their farmlands for preparing it for, you know, farming season?
I think it's a good one from the governor. You know, we need to look at our dear state, Anambra State, to be a better one. You know, and also in terms of urbanization too, I think bush burning should be minimized. You understand? And looking at the terrain which you actually talked about now, you talked about the Harmattan season and all that. A lot of people have their houses around and all that. So it's really and you should look. The state has a lot of issues and all that before you could start getting, you know, fire services to, you know,
Yeah.
come over for, you know, to you know, try to sort out things and all that. It's really going to be problematic. Not like it's not really going to be solved, but I think we should try to prevent issues. You understand? We should try to prevent issues. And looking at Anambra State at large, it's getting too organized that you wouldn't even see, you know.
And recently we've had like 2 or 3 fire disasters, and I think this is like a warning so that we can forestall any future occurrence. Yes. All right, quickly, let's go over to the papers we have for the day.
And the first paper we have for review this morning is the Vanguard. The banner headline, after Ekiti, more children kidnapped in Benue. And the rider there say armed herders kill 15 in Agatu. Bandits demand cough syrup rise 290 million naira to release 7 hostages. Abducted Ekiti pupils, school parents, community launch crowdfunding for ransom. Police arrest 8, urge residents to stay calm. We also have established state police to fight insecurity. That's PDP governors telling the federal government hardship. 7 months not enough to fix Nigeria. That's coming from the federal government. Tinubu congratulates Dangote on award in Senegal. And we also have the why government should remove electricity subsidy. That's coming from the Minister for Power. And quickly, let's go to the next. The Daily Times. Governors demand state police amid spike in killings and kidnappings. 109 billion fraud. I was tricked by EFCC to indict myself. Ex-AGF. FCT records 2,000 cases of gender-based violence in 100 days. That's official. NDDC Executive Director in 3.6 billion naira fraud case. Transport owners call for policy review to stem insecurity on roads. An article flares federal government's directive to NNPCL to remit oil sale proceeds to CBN. And NIMET urges collaboration on climate change adaptation. That's what we have on both papers this morning. Quickly, this insecurity and police, state policing, Emandi, do you really think that this would be the cure to the spite of insecurity and kidnapping and all this insurgency that we have in the country in recent years?
I believe that, first of all, before now, the president should have called state of emergency on security. By now, he should have called for a meeting, although the discussion about security is not meant to be made public. But by now, we should have heard that there is a meeting going on. Now, few weeks ago, it was Plateau. Now, Ekiti. Now, Benue. Now, you cannot even travel from the east to Abuja safely by road. And if you say, okay, let you travel by air, how many Nigerians can afford the the cost to travel by air. So you find out that now the state policing is also a part of remedy. Why? Let me use Anambra State, for example. The vigilante is also part of the state policing. And in this vigilante, the people, let's say the community, know most of these people that are the vigilante members, that are the members of the vigilante. And the crime will be minimum because in the community, you will know that that brother A is a vigilante. Or you say, okay, let us have our own vigilante group, maybe being headed by with the consent of the Igwe and the PG. Then the community will. This will help because most of these communities now that we are talking about, they don't have police stations in those communities. Now, maybe the police station might be at the town. Now, the vigilante will now arrest a criminal and then hands the criminal over to the police at the town. This is part of to secure lives and property of the people. So, if at this time that we are still crying of insecurity, the federal government should give head to state policing. And this state policing, we've been crying over it since the time of the past administration, but they've refused.
But
now,
on Monday, on newspaper review, Uzodinma said state governors cannot fund state policing.
How? Why? Don't we secure security votes? No, listen. The only thing is just that.
Now, coming to hear this from PDP government, you begin to wonder, is this thing going to be politicized? Because we're talking about the lives of Nigerians.
Why it is so is that everybody decides to wait to take order from the IG. And now the IG might cross his hand to say, let us wait to take order from the president. Actually, we can attest that we were here some weeks ago, even when the state government of Plateau said that the citizens should not defend themselves in the crisis that were happening in Plateau State. And at the end of the day, you should come and tell me that security is the business of everybody. Then, are you not trying to contradict or to bring misunderstanding between ourselves? You cannot fund. How can you tell me that you cannot fund state policing when you gather security votes? What do you use the security votes for? Or who do you account it for? Or what do you use it for?
Robinson, you want to say something?
You know, the governor of every state is the chief security officer of that state.
Yeah.
You understand? But I think that office, it's not even worth it any longer. I think he should now be called the chief security logistic officer of that state, because if you look at it, he doesn't have powers to, control the CP of that state, to control the commandant, military structure of that state.
Why the word control? What we're talking about is you have a responsibility. Do your job. Nobody needs to control somebody in order to do the job. They're not talking about control here. We're talking about living up to the responsibility of the portfolio that you occupy.
That is it. They need to take authority or powers from hierarchies. They can't do it on their own. That is the issue now. You understand? So
you're saying that state policing is not going to... It's not feasible in this part of the world?
It's feasible, but looking at the country we are into, the state as a point of contact, they cannot do it on their own. They will need to take more higher powers from the national level. That is it.
Okay, that's your own opinion, though. This issue of why government should remove electricity subsidy. This is coming from the power minister. Haven't we suffered enough in this country? We've talked about removal of fuel subsidy and how it's biting hard on the economy and the people, the citizens. Now, the Minister of Power is pushing for the government to remove subsidy on electricity.
That is not even enough.
The first question I should ask is, why then the recent increase in tariff? And second question that I have also that we need to ask the minister is, the funds or whatever, let's say the budget that you decide that you use in working for us in the year 2024, wasn't it approved? or the funds, won't it be released to you? The only thing is just that our leaders keep deceiving us, as if we don't know that this budget of a thing, that they procure, that there is always release for provision, management, and maintenance of power supply. Is always captured in the budget yearly. And this provision these provisions of power supply, we are being given with a minimum of 18 to 20 hours power supply a day. Wait, I mean, it is always captured in the budget yearly. Then at the end of the day, we cannot even boast of 2 to 3 hours in a day. Now you're telling me that you want to remove the subsidy, why you have your budget that you want to work with. How is it possible? How do you see it? Is it that are you trying to tell us that this offer that you cannot do it? Okay, if they should remove it. Okay, now let us look at the dollar rate. Now, removal, or how much do we buy fuel? How much do we buy petrol in this country? And we all know that there is no steady power supply. And let me just say, the industries that provides the services that people consume in this country, they provide the services through petrol. Now tell me, this is to cause more hardship in this country.
That was exactly why I asked the question. Haven't we suffered enough?
We have suffered enough.
I don't understand why a minister should wake up one morning and just said these are the reason. Though we've not seen the reason. I mean, maybe after this program, I will get myself a copy of Vanguard so that I'll see the reason. But to me, I think this issue shouldn't have come up in the first place, at least for now. Because we have a lot on our table. Let's quickly see the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. The big story there, bandits demanded 290 million naira food items to free 7 FCT hostages. Threatening to kill 2 if ransom is not paid on time. Abduct FHA director near military camp in Abuja. Parents of abducted Al Kalam Varsity student urge their release. And then rising insecurity, our Raleigh Southwest governors involve Adams to secure Yoruba land. This is coming from Oni. IFRS 17, death of actuaries threaten insurance companies' submission of financials. Senate seeks Germany's partnership in security, power sector development. By-election, IGP restricts movement in 26 states. Matawale disowns Castina elders over criticisms of Tinubu policy. Only creation of state police will tackle insecurity. MBF says regional security outfits can't check insecurity. Tinubu condoles with Shetima over stepmother's death. Okay, and that's it for the Daily Independent. And then we still have Sanwo-Olu procures additional rolling stock for blue red lines from China. Federal government unveils plans to procure more arms for national parks operation. The Nation newspaper is next. Naira's fall. CBN moves against banks for hoarding $5 billion. Apes Bank deploys monitors in DMBs to enforce compliance with Eastern rules. Pressure mounts on abductors of Ekiti pupils. The unifier for Edo PDP says Ighodalo. Ondo Deputy Governor Adelami pledges to add value. INEC excludes PDP from by-election in Plateau State. State police way to go. Okay, we've talked about that. And then the federal government seeks payment of 2 trillion naira debt from miners. Investor gain 902 billion naira in market rebound. Gunmen kill monarch. Wow. These are the stories we have on the both papers this morning. We have the Daily Independent and then the Nation newspaper. This big story in front of the Nation newspaper talking about Naira's fall. CBN moves against banks for hoarding $5 billion.
I'm thinking
How is that
this thing is a big issue.
possible?
It's a big issue in the sense that you know what is causing this thing is just that the CBN is supposed to be regulating these banks, but these banks they are doing things their own way. They would actually, most of them over the years, they've gotten naira at a very, very cheap price, and they've hoarded it. You understand? They've hoarded this dollar. So a lot of people want to do a lot of spending outside the country, cannot do it. A lot of people want to push in, raw materials back to the country, cannot do it. You understand? So it's really a problem, and it's actually affecting the GDP and the economy of the country.
My question is, why is it that it's now that the CBN is realizing? Because we are talking over the years. They didn't just hoard the money
It
today.
is because of they've looked at the rates now. They've looked at the rate of dollar to naira. It's skyrocketing. They know that it's going to a point whereby it's really going to affect everything about Nigeria.
So it means that they are really not doing their job as the Apex Bank and the people that are supposed to be overseeing all these banks. They are not really doing their job, because if they are, they should be checkmating and seeing how much they have in their coffers, and not coming now to tell us that they are holding about $5 billion.
Banks just needs to be selling. They just need to be selling dollar. Like, they don't need to be holding. They don't need to be stocking it. Just imagine banks in Nigeria who are holding like $5 billion.
And you tell me importers are busy scampering from one area
Exactly.
to another,
Looking for dollar.
dollars to do
Exactly.
business.
Do business.
And another thing there is that most times they hoard it for the highest bidders. And it is all these big wigs that we have in this country that will say at the end of the day, buy it from these banks. One of the things that the federal government should have done to correct this fall of naira is to peg the naira at a particular amount. The federal government can do it. And had it been that they were able to, let's say, do it sometime November or December last year, to peg dollar at the rate of, let's say, 800 naira or so, there wouldn't be no fall. The rate to naira wouldn't have fallen to the extent of the exchange rate to $1 is almost 1,800 naira now. So it is the federal, I didn't know the federal government pegged it at a fixed price. That is the thing. By now, nobody will be talking about the increase. And nobody will be talking about hoarding. Because they hoard, believing that tomorrow, let's say before the week runs out, dollar will be up to 2,000, and they will sell it to make their gains. They are only hoarding it to sell to the highest bidder, just to make the gains. And coming to think of it, most times you don't blame them because the apex body are not doing their job. Are not doing their job. Now, how do you even expect them to do their job when they even have their own issues to settle in their own house? That's the thing, because even the oil sales and mines and most of the sales that we make in this country, the payment are being made to the CBN. So the hoarding starts from the apex down to the commercial banks.
They've changed it now. It's going to be to the CBN, not truly to the banks.
No, I mean the sales that we make is to the CBN. That's what I said.
Well, it seems that this kidnapping business is quite booming, because from what we see, we saw in front page of Vanguard and then in the front page of Daily Independent, they are demanding 290 million. And then food items, rice, even cough syrup. Like, it's like, I don't understand where we are heading to with all this. It's funny, but there is this happening.
No, what really struck me was, so there's even a mode of communication between
Exactly.
these people and whosoever that wants to meet their ransom.
But of course, now, since we have a negotiator, those
so now,
so of course.
when these people are making these demands, as in,
Let's not go too far. We already know the negotiation and the businesses that were going on in the past administrations and the people that were accused for the negotiations. Tell me, how should you negotiate with a bandit? It is a criminal
with
offense.
a known location.
With a known location. And at the end of the day, you will tell me that the army cannot go there to fight them. If it is to fight the innocent people, you will hear the news, or to fight the vulnerable or the people that are not well. Anyway,
I would like to give kudos to Ondo State's government. I think they've actually done some things on their own parts in their own states. The people we were talking about Amotekun something, you understand? So it's actually helping their own states, you understand? At least because these bandits, they come with dangerous ammunitions, and you don't need to be going out with dead guns. So I think every state, this is where the state policing has to come in.
So finally, you are contradicting yourself because you said earlier that the state cannot do it on their own, but you are now you are not praising. No, you said earlier that the states cannot do it alone. Yeah, that they need to still, get to federal government.
Based on what is happening now in Nigeria, that is how they've placed it. But the state needs to take charge on their own. That is what I was trying to point.
All right, let's quickly go over to the newspapers.
The Daily Trust is the next paper for review this morning. And the banner headline is screaming, Nigerians decry rising cost of living. And then you can see the riders there saying rice costs 70,000 naira per bag, 50 kg bag. Flour 44,000 naira per bag. Cement 7,000 naira per bag. It's now difficult to survive in Nigeria. Tame inflation, tackle insecurity, that's coming from LCCI. And you can see the graphics there telling you the cost of these things. Ahead Saturday's by-election, Plateau PDP protest omission on ballot. Naira gains sells for 1,400 per dollar at parallel market. Niger junta expelled European Union Recovery Mission members. And then on the foreign scene, we have Gaza. NSCIA asks ICJ to halt genocide against Palestinians. Ekiti abduction. Our children left without food, beaten by captors. And then we have, that's all we have. And then let's go to the Tribune. Abducted school children, parents lament, IGP moves AIG to Ekiti. 13 suspects arrested. We need help. Our children, wives battling with life in kidnappers' den. Parents of kidnapped pupils cry out. Benue community boils again. 15 bodies recovered, several victims missing. Gunmen abduct Federal Housing Authority director in Abuja. Alleged 109 billion fraud. Ex-Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, kicks as EFCC tenders video evidence. Crude oil sales takeover by CBN illegal. That's Atiku saying. Nigerians are paying over 200 unofficial taxes. That's coming from Oyedele. And then INEC excludes PDP from Saturday rerun in Plateau. PDP governors back call for state policing. That's all we have on both papers. And then the Daily Trust, let's begin with the Daily Trust. This is really telling us the price of commodities in the market these days is really shocking. And Nigerians are really struggling to survive. And you can see the price differential between the bag of rice late January and early January. Just within a space of weeks, you're having
5,000 naira, a bag of rice to
70,000 naira.
A bag of rice. And then look at flour. That's why if you go to if you want to buy bread now, they will tell you that the bread,
loaf of bread
you bought 1,000 naira last week, that they are selling it 1,800 naira now.
I don't know how we'll survive this. I really don't know what the plans of the government really is, sincerely speaking, because this is getting out of hand. It's not as if we're in some form of civil war or, international war. But then people living in a particular country can't even have means to feed properly. Nobody is talking about 3 square meal. But just to even have something decent to eat, this is shocking. You understand? When you talk about minimum wage that is not even being paid by some state governors for 30,000 naira, and you're telling me the number one staple food in Nigeria, which is rice, is going for more than two times the amount of your minimum wage. 60,000 naira should be for 2 months. Yet, with 60,000, you can't even buy a bag of rice. I don't know I don't know where we're going to in this country, sincerely speaking. I think the government really needs to know what to do in order to arrest this situation, because for how long will we be crying, having this much, and yet we are still struggling?
We are not even.
And then you will read the same paper where someone that made away with 109 billion is saying that EFCC tricked him into confessing or whatever. 109 billion. Accountant General, for Christ's sake.
All right, let's also look at, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, about the abduction that happened in Ekiti State, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about it. But now what actually I'm finding difficult to understand is parents, you know, opening a GoFundMe, like begging people now to contribute so that they can get the ransom, because they're demanding 290 million. Now, in an economy like this, where are they expecting parents to get this money? And obviously, if they don't get the baby, they will start killing these people, the captives, one after the other. Now, don't you think that at this point, the government needs to step in to do something?
At this point, even before this point, the government ought to have stepped
I
in.
don't know. I'm just saying now because
That's
we've
the
passed
thing.
that point. But now that the parents are begging for arms.
They are begging because nobody will be in such situation to have a child being abducted and still keep silent.
Right? I think it's a problem. Looking at Ekiti State, I think
Not just it's Plateau, Benue, and
Ekiti
Ekiti.
State as a point.
Even Abuja too.
Yeah, because they kidnapped is he a minister?
A director.
A director,
A
yeah,
director.
in Abuja too.
There was a time these Owo killings happened in Ekiti
On
State.
Christmas Day.
Yes, and after which couple of times or couple of months, will I say weeks or months, those people were rescued and all that. So I think they actually know what they did in Ekiti State, so they can actually do it here too. You understand? But it's a problem. The thing is just that in Nigeria now, you just have to just save your own self. So if the government is not coming in, let parents just let them try. Let the state government help out in whichever way they can. You understand too? Because it's not funny, you know, losing your kids and all that. It's a big problem.
To me, at this point, this is a national issue. Because if we keep quiet, it will keep escalating. Before you know it, it will go to other states. I don't know if you understand.
It is already creeping. We've
Yes,
seen
but it will
4 or
start
5
creeping.
states having
Then-
this same issue.
Funny enough, if actually where it started from Plateau, that the culprits that started in Plateau were caught and some were killed, then those that were caught are facing trials and at the end of the day prosecuted. Are you getting me? It will bring these crimes, it will reduce at some point, and then give powers to the state governors to protect their states. That is the thing. You give them powers. I could remember we all can attest before the past administration in Anambra State, how the former governor fought insecurity that made Anambra State to be the safest state in Nigeria during his time. So these are the things that other states should step up their game. The governor should take the bull by the horn, secure the lives and the lives and properties of the people that you promise to secure or that you promise to lead. Because I don't know why they are feeling reluctant, because it has not gotten to their own doorsteps. By the time such thing happens,
It is gradually coming, because there was a video that went viral on the social media where the vice president, Shetima, said he was in company of a friend and the wife and the driver, and then somebody just came and tapped on this thing and now insulted him, saying that you bastards, so you guys are enjoying yourself and we are suffering. With that boldness, the young man was there at a public function and he was saying that it has come to that level where even they in power are not sleeping with their 2 eyes closed anymore.
and they're not doing anything concerning that because they believe or they feel that they have the security around them at their beck and call. That is one of the reasons. And they mean that they don't have such power to call on the security agencies. They would have swung into action. So the only thing is just that by now, as I earlier stated, by now the president should have called state of emergency on security. And then get advisors on security. Then
get advisors. What happens to the existing ones?
Listen to me. See, one thing with security, it is a process. The process you use in part A is not the same process you have to use in part B. And you cannot be doing the same thing at the same time and to expect a different result. It's not possible. So by now there should be changes. That's why most times in an administration, if the executive that's the number one executive member, sees that other executive members are not performing so well, that there are always reshuffles. The governor or the president reshuffles the cabinet members of the executive arm just to get different results or just to meet the needs that the people demand. That is just a simple thing to do.
Well, I think we have two major problems on our hands right now in this country: inflation and insecurity. Those are two major issues we have, and if we don't tackle them, I don't know where we are heading to.
I'm telling you.
So, they said that the security now is every hand must be on deck for us to achieve that and all that. But then again, the federal government should do something because this issue of inflation is biting hard on people. People cannot eat. Even some people can't eat 1 meal a day. One. They are not even sure of 1 meal a day. And look at the prices of things. In fact, Daily Trust, they broke it down for us to understand because we've been talking about it. Maybe we don't understand it. And they broke it down that a bag of rice they sold 45,000 naira early January. Now it's 70,000 naira. Just look at the difference.
Some people are casting away with millions and billions of naira in this country. Those that are occupying public offices. So the only thing is just that let's keep hope alive. That's
the only thing we can do, and we are pleading with the federal government to do something and arrest this situation because if we leave it at maybe mid of the year, I don't know how many people that will still be alive in this country.
Wow.
Yes, and the dollar rate. So they really need to do something. Well, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to you for joining us on the Press Review this morning. We want to thank our guests, Favor Robinson and Iman Diaz-Anago. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you.
And we pray you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
This is I know you say something without money, but you enjoy it at the end of the day. All right, that's it on Press Review. My name is Chidima Oranwa, and we'll see you at the other side. Stay with us.
I'm Ajulu Chukwu Okabwe. Thank you, and stay blessed.